All right. Just for the record, can you say and spell your name and what organization you're with?
Rabbi Samuel Cohen, Cohon, Congregation Beit Simcha, Beitsimcha.
Just give me your general reaction to what has happened in Israel. Well, for them, it's tonight. So, what happened there where you had, I think it was 180 missiles strike Israel?
Well, it's shocking and terrible, although oddly not entirely unexpected. So far as we know, there hasn't been a lot of severe damage. And up till now, we don't know of any major casualties from this attack. Iran telegraphed it a little bit. They passed word to Russia. I assume Russia passed word to Israel or somehow other got to Israel. I think that there's uh, a war, a full-on war that's been going on kind of at a proxy level for a long time. It was actuated exactly a year ago on October 7th by the terrible atrocities that Hamas perpetrated in Israel and then the war in Gaza that followed. Israel took some preemptive action because Hezbollah had been firing regularly from Lebanon for a long time, and they basically destroyed the command and control that Hezbollah had, wiped out Nasrallah, who is a brutal terrorist with a lot of American blood on his hands. And I think that was such a shock to Iran that they felt they had to respond. I don't think they want a full on war with Israel because I think they're afraid of what's going to happen to them. Israel has demonstrated that Hezbollah may have been something of a paper tiger, and that if Israel takes the initiative, they are much stronger than the enemies that they face. If they're surprised, it's a different matter. So I know that's military analysis. That's not what you go to a rabbi for, but it seems clear that Iran wanted to strike back in some way to prove to all the people that are dying on its behalf all around the Middle East that it too was willing to take some direct action. But I think they are not taking their gloves off fully. And I think they're worried because Israel's proven that they can do damage in the middle of Tehran if they choose to. Unfortunately, if you're an Israeli and you're spending Erev Rosh Hashanah, the time right before the Jewish New Year of 5785 in a bomb shelter, this isn't much comfort to know that it's Israel's military strength that's being respected right now. But I think that's what's going on.
Do you think that, I mean, clearly, Iran, yes, they planned on doing this, but the timing of the strike was really to get, I think, at the heart of the Jewish people as you're getting ready to go into this. Would you say that?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that this isn't just some sort of attack on a Zionist entity or we're angry at Israel because they're too militaristic. This is an anti-Semitic effort to destroy Jews, and Iran is perfectly happy to try to kill Jews anywhere in the world. And they certainly are demonstrating we're going to do this in time for the Jewish New Year, so that you spend the Jewish New Year in bunkers and at your military stations fighting instead of praying and doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, examining your souls, doing tshuva, return and repentance, and preparing for a new year. I, it's interesting. In my congregation, we're doing a special hymn for these high holy days. It's from the Sephardic tradition, the Jews of the Mediterranean. It's it's called "Let the Old Year End," and the theme of it is "Let the old year and its curses end. Let a new year and its blessings begin." Because this has been a really hard year for the Jewish people everywhere around the world, with the attacks on Israel, with the tremendous rise in anti-Semitism, with the Jewish casualties, not only on October 7th, but hundreds of people since then, and with the tremendous anti-Semitism on college campuses in America, and just everybody seems to be experiencing rises of anti-Semitism everywhere in the world. Let this year go. Let's start afresh now. And Iran certainly doesn't want that to happen. They've spent too much effort and money trying to harass Israel from all of these different proxies. And now they have to do something on their own. Let's see how they do with that.
Is there anything that people here can do to support the people at home?
There is. And there are a number of really valuable non military charities that are doing all kinds of rescue work in Israel. They're treating people with post-traumatic stress disorder, which is, you can make a pretty good case, the whole country right now. They are providing blood supplies. They're feeding people who've been out of their homes for a year in the north of Israel. Something like 100 to 150,000 Israelis had to evacuate because Hezbollah was sending and continues to send rockets into the north of Israel. Now they're coming from Iran. So they have to be fed and housed and clothed, and their kids taught, and all of the things that really matter. So there are really some great charities. I particularly like Hatzalah, which is an organization that does a lot of work. There's another organization called Leket. If they contact Congregation Beit Simcha, we send that information out regularly. Leket provides food to Israelis that are struggling to find food right now, that are hungry at this time of the holidays, but they do it all year. It's a great organization. And the Israeli Magen David Adom, which provides medical service. We call it the Red Cross, except the Red Cross is kind of anti-Semitic. And in Israel, it's called the Red Star. It's a Jewish star. They are taking care of the people that are wounded and injured, some of them in these current rocket attacks. So I think they're all great organizations, and they all help, and none of them have anything to do with the military. It's all about helping people who are affected by an Israel that's been at war now for a year.
As you come up on this October 7th, um, how's that hitting you?
Yeah, it's such a good question. I think we're all rabbis, but all Jews are kind of thinking about this right now. It's not like life stops. I know 1,200 people were murdered. There's still something like 100 hostages. I mean, I'm wearing this dog tag. I've been wearing it. I got it in Israel for a very long time now, longer than anybody thought possible. Some of them, we hope, are still alive. I think it's a really complicated and strange time that none of us expected to be in. It just isn't a year after the event and we've moved on and it's all different. The after effects are everywhere. And, I chaired the 9/11 commemorations here in Tucson for like 15 years, certainly more than 10. But 9/11 happened, and then pretty much all the rest of the effects from 9/11 took place, except the way they changed airport security off of our shores, right? We didn't have thank God, other terrorist attacks like that. We weren't at war here. And people flew to Afghanistan and they flew to Iraq, and we were engaged in those wars for a very long time. But in Israel, there's no very long way away. It's not only next door, it's right at home. And having been in Israel in January and February, having seen the country at war, it's amazing the resilience the Israelis are showing, and it's also challenging for us here because we can't be there. We can only do what we can do. It's very complicated feelings right now.
What's interesting is I'm looking at Al Jazeera right now, and they said that the Iran state media says that they hit 80% of their targets. Um, I don't know. You and I saw what they did. I didn't see 80%. I don't know what video they're looking
I think that they just make it up.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God that they have to be so creative. I saw a lot of coverage, and I follow a lot of the Israeli sources on the news. And Israelis are in bomb shelters right now, but there haven't been, if those are the targets they would try to hit, they hit a lot of open fields. I do not believe they hit most of their targets.
Yeah. I thought it's always important to see what people are saying, from all perspectives. I'm just reading what they're saying, because I'm not getting that in the American press. Um, so my final question, I guess, is this. You know, you speak to a lot of people. I'm sure you speak to a lot of young people. I imagine some of them are probably saying, why do people hate us?
Yeah, I teach a whole class on that. It's a strange thing to teach. I avoided teaching that class on anti-Semitism for the first, I don't know, 15 years of my rabbinate. And finally I said, I guess I really got to do this. Um, and if you divorce yourself from the experience of feeling hated, and you start to like explore the crazy reasons that people hate Jews. It's just crazy. It's like trying to find a rationale for racism, and there is no rationale. And I don't know if anti-Semitism is really the oldest and most pernicious form of race hatred in human history, but it's pretty close. We got 2,000 years at least, maybe 22, 2,300 years of it, and it always comes back. I think it's just fascinating the ways that people justify hating anybody who's different than they are. And that on my alma mater's campus of UCLA, people were chanting, Israel, Israel, you can't hide. We want Jewish genocide a few months ago. Blows my mind. Um, some diseases just are really hard to stamp out. So when I talk to young people and I explain that differences between us, any of us in this human race, are so minuscule that we're all one race. I think most people, particularly young people, not only accept that, they think it makes sense because it's, after all, scientifically true. And the biases that we harbor and develop and the hatreds that are cultivated culturally come from such a dark place, a mistaken place, that it's really important for people to come to understand that we have to cross all those lines and show respect. And that's the only way to do it. And that's the only thing that we really can bring. And if what we start with is hatred, we're never going to get there.
Is there anything else you want to add that I didn't ask you or I missed?
Yeah, I think that in spite of everything that's happened and Iran's attack on Israel, I think that this will be a better year. Um, it's starting rough, and the last one started pretty rough too. But I am optimistic that Israel has begun to figure out a course out of this morass, and that the world isn't meant for hatred and death, and it's meant instead for life and blessing. So again, I'll say, let the old year and its curses end, let the new year and its blessings begin, as they do for Rosh Hashanah. And Lashana Tova, a good new year and a healthy one to everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. It's Wednesday, it happens Wednesday night, so in case I don't talk to you, happy Rosh Hashanah.
Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate it. Good to see you.
You too, sir. All right. Take
Take
care.
care. Bye bye.